Hi everyone, welcome to Coding Vertex.
In this video, we will learn about data bindings in Angular. In our previous video, we learned about component in detail and we also learn about how to create project and run it. I hope you watched that video and I have uploaded the project in my GitHub account as well as I will going to upload the notes. So without wasting time, let's get started. So if you will see my notes, today we will learn about data binding. It's our third video. First video was Angular introduction. Second video I told you it is related to component and how to create project. So as soon as I will upload this video, I will attach link in this notes files also. So if you are not understanding about these notes, you can go through that video. So what is data binding in Angular? If you will see the definition, data bindings in Angular is a fundamental concept that allows you to establish a connection between the data in your application and the user interface. I'll explain it practically, don't worry about that, but first learn about theory. So in Angular, especially in Angular, we have two types of data binding. If you know about React, in React we have one-way data binding, but in Angular we have two types of data binding. One is one-way data binding and second one is two-way data binding. So we'll understand what is one-way data binding at first. So in one-way data binding, we have three types of binding as you can see here. The first one is interpolation. It is one-way data binding and the symbol or the syntax is two curly brackets. So to demonstrate data bindings in Angular, I will create one new component ng generate component data binding. I'll keep naming like this and I'll also write two number here so that if you are using my project then you can orderly follow. As we have this data binding here, I'll use this selector and in our main component I'll write it here. I'll also create project layout very well, but at this moment I'm not worried about that. Okay, and as you can see data binding 2 is working. Now as I have told you, interpolation is the first type of one-way data binding and this is the syntax. So how to use it? If you will go here, I'll in this data binding 2, I'll create one variable. So to create variable here, I'll use interpolation data. And if you know about TypeScript, we can assign the type of this data. And I'm thinking to simply create one number variable. Here I'll assign 23 number. Now what I'll create here, instead of this I'll write h2 first type of data binding, that is one way data binding. After that h1 data binding in Angular. So I'm creating very proper project so that you can directly use this project and you can do further practices here. So one way data binding, and now here I'll write h3 and the first type here is interpolation. I'll also write syntax here. So what I'll write, interpolation data. So you know that I already created this variable, and if you will see here, you can see 23 is coming here. So now you understood that you can directly bind variable here. So if you will see carefully, I have data here in my JavaScript file, and data binding is happening from JavaScript file to HTML file. So the flow of this interpolation data file will be always one way, and the flow is JavaScript to HTML. I hope you understood this. If you are getting any doubts, you can ask me in comment. I'll try to resolve this. Now, next is property binding. So, what does it mean? Property binding means I hope you know about HTML. Obviously, you know, that's why you came here. Now, what I'll do, I'll write another H3 element and I'll write property binding. So, now what I'll do here, this is just a property binding element. Okay, property binding doesn't happen in this way. If you will see here, for property binding, I need to write here any property in this square bracket, and after that I can use any variable to bind this. So let me show you how this happens. If I write here background is also one property in HTML. Right now, if I'll come here, I create prop property. I will, if I didn't assign any type, then it will not create any problem, but I am doing this because it is the good practice. Now in property, what I'll write sky blue. It's my favorite color. As I told you, this is the property name and this one is variable in which I will going to have any value. So if I saved it, it's saying error. Background since isn't known property. Okay. So instead of this, what I'll do, I'll write style dot background. So this one is property. If I'll save, it's compiled successfully, and if you will see, you can see whatever value I am providing in this variable, it's binding as like a property. Now if I'll write green, you can see it changed. Okay, so this one is the property binding. There are so many different properties. As you will explore in HTML and Angular, you have so many properties like hidden and all. So you will explore it as time will go. Don't worry about this. I can't tell you all the properties here, but whatever properties you can use it in this way. Now what I'll write here, the third one. If you will see the third one, we have event binding. So what does it mean? For event, instead of this H3, I'll write button. Click. It is a simple click button. If you will see, I will make it more bigger. No need. Just need to do styling. Oh, instead of that, I'll write inline style here. Padding 10 px, 20 px, then font size 20 px. Okay, I hope this one is good. Now we have big button here. If you'll go here, now as I told you, event binding. For event binding, you need to pass some event. Event this one is the event. Now I hope you know about JavaScript, right? In JavaScript, we have on click event, then we have on hover event, something like that, right? On key press event, so many events like that. So in Angular, if you want to use any event binding, you just remove this on word. Whatever event name you have, that you can pass. Suppose I have this click. So instead of this event, I'll write click here, and then on this event, I can call any function. So to demonstrate this, I'll simply write click in this click, I'll write function name event binding function. So do we have function here? No, we don't have function, so it will give us error. And for your information, I should use camel casing because this is the good practice. Otherwise, your code will look so bad. Now I'll write function. Now in in Angular, we don't need to mention the function keyword or something. You can directly write function like this. Now here I'll write console. Okay, so just wait a second. We'll do some fun here. What we'll do, I'll change this variable in now on click of that button. What I'll do, I'll change this variable value from 22 to 50. Now it will still give you error. Why? Because as you know, this is the class, and if we want to access any variable inside the class which is already declared, then we need to use this keyword. Okay, so I'll save it. Now we don't have any errors and everything is working fine. Now if you will see, I'll make little zoom. So we have 23 value which is already bound here. So now if you will see, if I click, that value becomes 50 and we don't need to do anything because the value is already bound here. So it will change automatically. So this is what data binding is. Now if you will see, this property binding was also from JavaScript to HTML. The click event is from HTML to JavaScript. Now in this two-way data binding is not only from HTML to JavaScript, but it is also from JavaScript to HTML. So to demonstrate this, I need one thing here. So what I'll do, I'll copy this and I'll write two-way data binding here. Now here what I need, I will create one input, text type input, and after that I'll also write h3, and here I'll write two-way binding. Now to demonstrate this, I'll create one variable, two-way. Okay, I'll write two-way. Now if you want to use two-way data binding, you need to import something. But before that, I'll complete the binding. So to complete this binding, you need to write syntax like this: ng model. Ng model is one module which will make this two-way data binding perfectly. Now just to demonstrate, I'll use interpolation for that two-way. Now if you will see, we got some error, right? And what it is saying that event is not assignable to type string. What does it mean? Two-way. Okay, so but we have error here, right? So occur template, blah blah blah. We got, yeah. So this one is the thing which we have can't bind to ng model since it isn't known property, right? So that module need to import first. So to import this module, what we need to go into the app module. In this app module, in this import, we need to import forms module. As soon as you did this, and if I saved it, now if you will see, I don't have any errors. If you will see here, the data binding is completed. If you will see, in JavaScript, I had green value to that variable. If I'm changing, you can see as soon as I'm changing, from HTML, it's going to save into JavaScript. So this is what two-way data binding. This is two-way data binding. So this one is very cool thing. I hope you understand what is two-way data binding, one-way data binding. I did one mistake here. I should write here two. So this is what data binding is. I'll upload these notes. I'll also upload this project, whatever changes I have. And I hope you are clear with the concept of data binding. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in comment. And thanks for watching this video.